Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Battle Through the Heavens part 144 based on novel. So let's start. Two human figures that were covered by vast and mighty Do-Chi clusters collided violently in the sky. Frightening earth-shaking noise shot towards the cloud. Even the clouds that floated in the sky had been shaken until they scattered at this moment. No one dared to step within 1,000 feet radius of the two. With such a terrifying Do-Chi attack, it was likely that even an ordinary elite Do-Zun would have difficulty blocking it. Ha ha, how enjoyable. Xiao Yan violently collided with Old Ghost Xing. The strong and fierce force shook Xiao Yan until he pulled back by over a dozen steps. His face was also covered with a desire to battle. Due to there being too big of a gap when they battled with Old Ghost Xing earlier, he was unable to exchange blows head-on with the other party. All he could do was to rely on his speed and agility to dodge. After which, he began to display his Do-Chi attack. It was the first time this kind of bold head-on collision had occurred. Compared with Xiao Yan's loud laughter, Old Ghost Xing's expression had become increasingly gloomy. In front of the many experts within the Hall of Soul, a Hall of Soul tianzun, was unable to finish of a younger generation even after such a long time. He had really lost a great amount of face. You can just try to act strong in front of the old me. The old me shall see just how many lives can the Falling Star Pavilion fork out to let you squander. Old Ghost Xing inhaled a deep breath of air. His tone had suddenly become sinister as he spoke. Xiao Yan's eyes took the opportunity to sweep around the interior of the star realm when he heard this. His heart sunk a little. Although some of the elders in the Falling Star Pavilion were still able to fight with the experts from the Hall of Soul, those ordinary disciples were no match for them. Although they relied on their large number to prevent too many deaths, there would also be occasionally some Falling Star Pavilion disciples dying from the sneak attacks by the experts from the Hall of Soul. I really cannot continue to drag this out. There is a need to finish off this old ghost quickly. Xiao Yan mused a little in his heart. After which, he slowly nodded. He quietly took out a couple of medicinal pills to recover Do-Chi from his storage ring and stuffed all of them into his mouth. However, he did not immediately swallow them. After doing all these, his gaze finally turned towards Old Ghost Xing. He let out a cold laughter and the Do-Chi within his body followed a strange path and circulated rapidly. Following the circulation of his Do-Chi, dark golden light gradually appeared on Xiao Yan's right palm. At the same time, his feet stepped gently on the air and walked towards Old Ghost Xing. Seeing Xiao Yan slowly walk over, a ferocious smile also surfaced on Old Ghost Xing's face. Xiao Yan adopted the intention of ending this battle as soon as possible and it was the same for him. With his eyesight, he could naturally tell that Xiao Yan was displaying a Do technique. However, he did not care. The only that Xiao Yan could frighten him with was the fire lotus that relied on the merger of 4 types of flames. Other than this, he did not think that Xiao Yan could possess any threat towards him. Even though Xiao Ya's strength could barely fight head-on with him now, he also understood that this ability to fight was something that Xiao Yan had forcefully obtained by using the secret technique. Once the secret technique reached its time limit, it would be an easy matter to kill Xiao Yan. Now, allow the old me to let you see just what is the true strength of a 5-star Do-Zun. The ferocious expression on Old Ghost Xing's face became increasingly wide. Vast and mighty Do-Chi spluttered. After which, it transformed into a viscous substance. It wiggled strangely before agglomerating into a dark black ghost head blade. This large blade was extremely strange. A layer of strange dark black crystal covered it. The blade's edge gently cut through the air and a thumb-sized cracked line suddenly appeared. Old Ghost Xing's hand held the large blade tightly. His gaze was dense as he watched Xiao Yan walking over slowly. Numerous afterimages were suddenly formed by the large blade. After which, it hacked down furiously from across the space. Shattering Star Blade. After Old Ghost Xing's low and deep roar resounded over the place, the entire sky suddenly became dark. Countless number of stars were suspended behind Old Ghost Xing. after which, they transformed into numerous small rays of light that gathered onto the large blade. Following the gathering of these rays of light, the energy on the large blade also became increasingly frightening. Die? Old Ghost Xing smiled in a dense manner. The blade hacked downwards. Following the fall of this blade, the space in front of him fell apart almost instantly. Numerous spatial crack lines appeared. Finally, 1,000 feet large sharp blade glow forcefully split the space in front in an incomparably overbearing manner. It transformed into a lightning that shot explosively towards Xiao Yan. Such a powerful blade glow suddenly appeared in the sky. It immediately attracted the focus of countless number of eyes. A surprised expression immediately surfaced in the eyes. Star-shattering blade. This was the greatest trump card of Old Ghost Xing. Countless number of experts had died under this blade. However, after Old Ghost Xing had joined the Hall of Soul, he had seldom met any expert who could cause him to once again display this greatest trump card of it. Unexpectedly, it could be currently seen in this place. Old Ghost Xing star-shattering blade can be considered to be at the peak of the DI class Do techniques. Its strength is extremely shocking. There are very few Do technique of the same class that could forcefully receive this attack. That Xiao Yan is likely going to be out of luck. Some of the experts observing from outside of the Falling Star Pavilion involuntarily shook their heads when they saw this situation. Xiao Yan's eyes rippled slightly in the face of this frightening sharp blade glow that could tear the world. His slow forward-moving footsteps also paused for a moment. The dark golden light on his right palm also became increasingly dense. It is too late to think of escaping now. Seeing Xiao Yan pause his footsteps, Old Ghost Xing thought that the former was shaken by this blade glow. He immediately laughed coldly. However, Xiao Yan acted as though he did not hear this cold laughter. His gaze focused intently on his right palm. The dark golden color at that spot had reached the limit of its brightness before an extreme deep black glow finally trembled and surfaced. With the surfacing of this black light, the bright golden glow also quickly disappeared. Instead, the black spot became increasingly large. That manner was as though the golden glow's energy was being swallowed by the black light. With the rapid expansion of the black light, Xiao Yan also sensed the Do Qi swiftly flowing out from his body. He hurriedly swallowed the medicinal pills in his mouth with a gulp. After which, he suddenly raised his head. At this moment, that 1,000 feet large blade glow was already a couple of dozen meters in front of him. The sharp wind caused tiny blood traces to appear on his skin. Consider it your honor to be able to die under the star-shattering blade of the old me. The blade glow approached. At this moment, even with Xiao Yan's fast speed, he was unable to dodge the attack. Old Ghost Xing involuntarily laughed out loud when he saw this. This hateful brat would finally die in his hands today. Who? A faint smile was slowly lifted on Xiao Yan's face when he heard Old Ghost Xing's loud laughter. His hand suddenly landed heavily on the empty space in front of him. A dense cry suddenly resounded. Great Heaven Creation Palm. Bang! Xiao Yan's palm landed and the space itself basically collapsed almost instantly. A dark black light sphere that caused one's heart to feel cold swiftly spread from his palm. After which, it violently collided with the sharp blade glow. Kai? The two collided. The intense explosion that exceeded everyone's expectations did not appear. That blade glow appeared to have entered a deep bottomless black hole as it charged in. Not the slightest fluctuation was created. Even the rate at which the black light expended was not slowed. Hiss! Everyone inhaled a breath of cool air from shock upon seeing this scene. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. It was likely that few amongst those present could receive that attack of Old Ghost Xing, yet that extremely powerful blade glow appeared to be without even the slightest ability to resist under that strange black light sphere. How is this possible? At this moment, everyone's head were blurry. All they could do was to repeatedly mutter in their minds. The disappearance of the blade glow also caused Old Ghost Xing to be stunned. He suddenly recovered and looked at the familiar black light sphere. Those eyes of his abruptly widened as he exclaimed, Great Heaven Creation Palm? Tien Class Do Technique? How did you obtain it? Old Ghost Xing had personally witnessed the great heaven creation palm at the ancient remains back then. That frightening strength was something that was deeply ingrained in his memory even until now. This kind of Qian class Do technique, which he greatly coveted, had actually landed in Xiao Yan's hand. It's those 3 ribs. Old Ghost Xing could be considered to have reacted quickly. He almost immediately recalled the 3 ribs that Xiao Yan had ripped from the skeleton that day. Clearly, if the Qian class Do technique really did exist, it should be on those ribs. This cunning bastard. Old Ghost Xing's heart was bleeding from regret. His expression became gloomy as he looked at the spreading black light sphere. His body hurriedly pulled back. You wish to escape? Xiao Yan merely laughed coldly when he saw Old Ghost Xing fleeing. His hand suddenly shook and the black light sphere expansion rate suddenly increased. At the same time, an incomparable suction force surged out from within the dark black light sphere. Under this suction force, Old Ghost Xing's speed immediately slowed. After which, he was shocked to see the black light sphere spreading over rapidly. The fear of death finally climbed onto his heart at this moment. He clearly understood that if he was sucked into the light sphere, it was likely that even he would die immediately. Bang bang bang. Old Ghost Xing hurriedly unleashed numerous powerful Do Chi pillars at this critical moment where death approached. However, these attacks did not even create a ripple when landing on the light sphere before they strangely disappeared. This kind of endless devouring caused a helplessness to surge up Old Ghost Xing's heart. Die? Xiao Yan's eyes turned chilly as he watched Old Ghost Xing, who was in close proximity. The rate at which the light sphere spread suddenly increased. 9th tianzun, sir, please save me. Old Ghost Xing, who was unable to escape after using all of his abilities, finally opened his throat at this critical moment. A miserable sharp roar resounded over the sky. Xiao Yan was startled initially when he heard that sharp scream from Old Ghost Xing. Immediately, his heart abruptly turned cold. The Hall of Soul actually still had some experts hidden in this place? Moreover, the status of this person was actually such that even Old Ghost Xing, who was a Hall of Soul tianzun, had to address as Sir. Looks like the Hall of Soul has indeed come prepared. This thought flashed past Xiao Yan's heart. A fierce glint appeared in Xiao Yan's flickering eyes. Regardless of what the case was, he should kill this Old Ghost Xing, who had repeatedly opposed him, before deciding on anything. Kai? A desire to kill surged within his heart. The speed at which the black light sphere spread suddenly quickened. The frightening suction force that was within close proximity shocked Old Ghost Xing until his soul scattered. That horrified sharp cry became increasingly mournful. Trash, you have been turned into such a state by a younger generation. What face do you have to be a tianzun of the Hall of Soul? Just before the light sphere was about to reach Old Ghost Xing's body, an indifferent and completely emotionless voice suddenly resounded slowly in the sky. Soon after, a cracked line was swiftly formed in the space behind Old Ghost Xing. A blue figure slowly walked out. With the appearance of this figure, the air in this entire place immediately became moist. Some faint tiny raindrops spluttered and poured downwards from the sky. This mysterious change naturally attracted Xiao Yan's attention. Immediately, his heart sank. This person was actually able to rely on his vast and mighty Do Chi to stir the change of the natural energy around him. Such a strength was really shocking. Based on Xiao Yan's guess, it was likely that this so-called 9th tianzun had likely reached the 7-star or 8-star level. The indifferent voice might cause Old Ghost Xing's face to be ashamed, but it was obvious that his life was even more important than his face. He hurriedly cried out, "Sir, save me!" The blue figure glanced faintly at Xiao Yan. After which, he knitted his pale blue eyebrows. He watched the black light sphere that rapidly spread over and muttered, "It is actually a Qian class Do technique. How envious." The blue-cloaked figure swung his sleeve after uttering those words. The raindrop that scattered throughout the sky began to gather at a shocking speed. Within a short moment, it had gathered into a fast-rotating rain scene in front of Old Ghost Xing. At the same time, his palm grabbed Old Ghost Xing's shoulder and pulled back in a lightning-like manner. Seeing that this person wished to rescue Old Ghost Xing, chillness surged within Xiao Yan's eyes. The qi within his body was poured out crazily, and the speed at which the black light sphere spread also increased. Within a blink of an eye, it had collided with the rain curtain. Crash! The two collided and the rain curtain immediately collapsed. Those rain droplets that permeated the sky were completely swallowed into the light sphere. The black light sphere broke through the rain curtain. Its speed increased instead of decreasing. After which, it quickly gave chase in front of Old Ghost Xing's terrified eyes. The black light sphere directly reached Old Ghost Xing's legs. Ah! When the black light sphere reached him, an extremely miserable scream was immediately erupted from Old Ghost Xing's mouth. Humph! That blue figure also snorted coldly. He ignored the miserable scream of Old Ghost Xing as he grabbed the latter's shoulder and increased the speed at which he was pulling back. The blue figure's speed increased and fled for some distance with Old Ghost Xing. He turned around and glanced at Old Ghost Xing's legs, only to frown a little. At this moment, Old Ghost Xing's legs were already completely broken. The spot where it broke was as smooth as mirror. Not even the slightest blood appeared. That manner was as though the blood from both of his legs were completely swallowed by the black light sphere during the momentary contact earlier. His eyes once again turned towards Old Ghost Xing's face. It was already as pale as snow. Even his breathing had become a little sluggish. Having lost both legs and an arm, this Old Ghost Xing could basically be considered half-crippled. What an overbearing Tian-class Do technique! A slight solemnness drew past the blue figure's face. Immediately, he shook his head. His toes pressed on the empty air and his body pulled back rapidly. Even with his strength, he did not wish to forcefully receive the great heaven creation palm. Even if he could receive it, it would cause him some losses. This was not something that he wished to see. Even if you wish to leave, you will have to leave that old ghost behind. Xiao Yan laughed coldly when he saw the blue figure's fast speed. He suddenly clenched his hand. Vast and might Do Qi spread. That black light sphere's speed was also raised to its limit. It emitted a swoosh sound and spread with lightning-like speed. After which, it chased Old Ghost Xing, whose shoulder was grabbed by the blue figure, with a swift lightning-like speed that one could not react fast enough. Finally, it struck the chest portion of the latter in front of his incomparably terrified eyes. Kai? A soft sound appeared. Old Ghost Xing widened eyes instantly solidified. Fresh blood slowly seeped out from the corner of his mouth. His face was as shriveled as a withered tree. His life force had completely vanished in the blink of an eye. The light sphere swallowed the area below Old Ghost Xing's chest and finally ceased extending due to it having reached its limit. Finally, it slowly vanished in front of countless number of horrified gazes. The blue figure had finally stopped the moment Old Ghost Xing lost his life force. After which, his gaze coldly looked at the black light sphere that swiftly disappeared. Finally, his eyes paused on Xiao Yan at the middle of the light sphere. You are indeed worthy of being a descendant of Xiao Xian. This venerable self is a little curious as to why you are able to reach the Dozun level at such an age. Could it be the bloodline of the Xiao clan, which had already long been wasted, could be used again? The blue figure looked at Xiao Yan and spoke faintly. Xiao Yan did not reply. His gaze merely glanced at the old man in front of him. The old man was wearing a blue robe. Even his hair and eyebrows were pale blue in color. Both of his eyes appeared to be emitted an endless and mighty water affinity energy, causing one to feel a little absent-minded. This blue-robed old man might appear ordinary, but Xiao Yan understood that the strength of this old fellow was not any weaker than the ancient void dragon He Qing, whom he had met back then. It is likely not due to the bloodline. It was already incredible that this kind of wasted bloodline could groom an expert like Xiao Xian. It is likely impossible to groom a second Xiao Xian. That blue-clothed old man, who was addressed by Old Ghost Xing as Ninth Tianzun, merely shook his head and muttered to himself in the face of Xiao Yan's silence. Wasted bloodline? Xiao Yan frowned slightly and felt some doubt within his heart. From the meaning of this old fellow's words, It seemed that the Xiao clan possessed a history that he was unaware of a long time ago. However, that whatever bloodline strength was something that he had never sensed even a little of during all these years. Other than relying on the flame mantra to swallow heavenly flame, the reason that he was able to reach his current level was because of the accumulation of his own effort. There was no credit for the whatever bloodline strength. It is fine if you have doubts. Someone will explain to you once you reach the Hall of Soul. Ninth Tianzun laughed faintly after having appeared to see through Xiao Yan's doubt. He glanced at Old Ghost Xing, who merely had the area above his chest remaining. After which, he slowly shook his head. A rich blue energy spread out from his palm. It subsequently wrapped around the remainder of Old Ghost Xing's body before transforming into a blue icy crystal. With a flick of his hand, the ice crystal shattered. With a bang, it was blasted into countless fragments. Old Ghost Xing's body also turned into dust. Although Old Ghost Xing had failed in a number of missions and ought to be punished, the one who should carry out this punishment is not you. Therefore, you must take some responsibility for his death. Ninth Tianzun's blue eyes looked at Xiao Yan and said. Xiao Yan laughed coldly. Do Qi swiftly surged within his body. The heavenly flame also began to agglomerate within it. He was prepared to use all of his strength to fight with this Ninth Tianzun. I am aware that you possess a fire lotus that is comparable to a Qian class Do technique. However, this is insufficient. You will not get the chance to unleash such an attack in front of this venerable self. Therefore, you should just leave with this venerable self. My mission might be to bring you back alive, but you can be considered alive as long as you have a breath left. Ninth Tianzun gently flicked his long finger on his sleeve and spoke without expression. I don't believe it. Xiao Yan's eyes were narrowed slightly. He did indeed sense a kind of dangerous aura from Ninth Tianzun. However, this was insufficient to get him to surrender without a fight. His shoulders immediately shook and the green-red bone wings were extended. The wings were flapped and his body immediately pulled back explosively. Numerous after-images appeared in the sky, causing one to be dazzled. Ninth Tianzun shook his head slowly when he saw Xiao Yan's body pulling back. The space beside him slowly became distorted and his body disappeared in a strange fashion. The pores all over Xiao Yan's body immediately stood up when Ninth Tianzun disappeared. However, his eyes had just blinked when he saw that blue figure was already less than 2 feet in front of him. This venerable self has said that these are useless. Ninth Tianzun's face was still indifferent. His right hand drifted out gently and the water qi that permeated the sky gathered. Finally, it was accompanied by waves after waves of rich dark and cold energy. It rushed over towards Xiao Yan with lightning-like speed. Ninth Tianzun's palm flew over without warning. Xiao Yan's expression swiftly became grave. The purple-brown flame hurriedly gathered on his right hand. Finally, it transformed into a meandering fire dragon that collided heavily with Ninth Tianzun's hand. Kai? The two collided. However, there was no earth-shaking sound. Heat and dark chillness interacted. It erupted into a dense white smoke and a sizzling sound resounded continuously. Bang! This interaction did not continue for long before a deep sound resounded within the fog. Immediately, a miserable figure staggered and flew out. Finally, it smashed heavily on a mountain wall. The frightening force directly caused an arm-thick crack line to climb all over the hard mountain wall. Grug! Xiao Yan rubbed away the trace of blood from the corner of his mouth. He spat out the blood from his mouth as he looked at the blue figure in the sky with a gloomy expression. It was possible for him to put up a fight when facing Old Ghost Xing. However, he actually did not possess the strength to retaliate in the hands of this Ninth Tianzun. Leave with this venerable self. Ninth Tianzun in the sky glanced at Xiao Yan. His body moved and he appeared in front of the latter. His palm was slowly extended and grabbed onto Xiao Yan's shoulders. An indifferent voice was slowly emitted. Xiao Yan stared intently at Ninth Tianzun, who had extended his hand over. A ruthlessness flashed within his eyes. Just when he was about to unleash all his strength and risk his life to attack, a hand was extended from behind him. It calmly grabbed ninth tianzun hand. At the same time, a faint elderly voice also quietly spread from behind. You, ninth tianzun alone, is really unqualified to bring him away. Ninth tianzun's expression changed slightly when his hand was being grabbed. This was because he discovered that at this moment, the circulating dou qi within his body became sluggish. The fog that was permeated with rain droplets also rapidly disappeared. This scene naturally caused some shock to surge up ninth tianzun's heart. He suddenly raised his head only to see an elderly figure suspended in the sky. That familiar face directly caused him to involuntarily exclaim, "Yao Chen? Your body, you have actually recovered your strength?" Ninth tianzun had discovered with a glance that the current body of Yao Lao no longer possessed that kind of illusory form like in the past. Clearly, it was an actual body. Moreover, the reason for his heart to sink rapidly was the frightening aura that filled Yao Lao's body. That aura was so strong that it caused even his heart to pound a little. "Teacher? You have awoken?" Xiao Yan hurriedly turned around during the time that ninth tianzun's attack was blocked. He saw Yao Lao behind and a joy quickly surged onto his face. "Yes?" Yao Lao smiled slightly towards Xiao Yan. After which, he slowly said, "Little fellow, you should go and help the others first. Leave him to me." Xiao Yan hesitated for a moment after hearing this before nodding his head. With his extraordinary spiritual perception, he was naturally able to sense that the aura of the current Yao Lao was extremely frightening. Such an aura was something that even ninth tianzun in front and Hei Qing from back then could not compare with. This aura could even be considered the strongest that Xiao Yan had ever felt during these years. Is this the strength of teacher at his peak? It is indeed very strong. No wonder he is able to possess that kind of reputation in the Central Plains back then. Xiao Yan sighed in relief within his heart. After which, he drifted backwards in front of ninth tianzun's somewhat gloomy eyes. "Yao Chen, do you think that you can fight with my Hall of Soul just because you have recovered your peak strength?" Although ninth tianzun greatly wanted to stop Xiao Yan, he understood that the Yao Chen in front of him had once again returned to being that renowned Yao Zunja from the past. Even with his arrogance, he must admit that his current strength was no match for Yao Lao. The Hall of Soul is not the strongest in the world. You have quite a number of powerful opponents. Some people are entangled until they do not dare to randomly attack. As long as certain people do not intervene, someone of your level is unable to threaten the old me. Yao Lao laughed faintly. However, his smile had a slight chillness to it. "Today, the Hall of Soul had launched such a big campaign against us and you have injured my only disciple. You must ultimately repay a little of this debt. Do you really think that this venerable self is afraid of you?" Ninth tianzun's face was dark and cold. His hand had a layer of blue luster. Immediately, his arm was twisted in a strange manner and escaped from Yao Lao's restraint. He widened his mouth and a blue dou qi spluttered out in all directions. It swiftly agglomerated into a huge beast that bare its fangs and banished its claws. It carried a rich energy pressure as its sharp claws directly charged towards Yao Lao. Yao Lao's expression remained calm in the face of the attack by ninth tianzun. His hand was extended before it clenched abruptly. The space in front of him collapsed almost instantly and that enormous beast was directly broken apart. It transformed into water droplets that scattered in all directions. Bang! After destroying ninth tianzun's attack with a palm, Yao Lao's hand aimed at the former across a great distance before slamming his palm forward. This palm had just slammed forward when the energy of this entire place immediately fluctuated intensely. An invisible large spatial hand directly blended into the space and rushed quietly towards ninth tianzun. Although the spatial large hand was quiet, ninth tianzun's heart still sensed an extremely dangerous feeling. His hand seal changed hurriedly and a low cry sounded. The endless amount of icy cold energy from around him gathered and formed a 1,000 feet large blue water barrier. The large spatial hand violently landed on the enormous blue water barrier. Monstrous spatial strength spread at that moment and directly caused the space of this entire area to become distorted. The shocking momentum caused the expressions of quite a number of people to change drastically. Bang! The spatial strength swept apart. That seemingly strong and firm blue water barrier merely lasted for a moment before it emitted a bang and exploded in the blink of an eye. Immediately, a crushing rain fell mightily from the sky and smashed onto the sea of tree, forming a clear rattling noise. Ninth Tianzun's body staggered after the blue water barrier was broken. His body was directly forced back by 100 over meters. A moan was also emitted from his throat. Clearly, this ninth tianzun had suffered some injuries during this first exchange with Yao Lao. This spectacular battle in the sky naturally attracted the eyes of those experts in the distance. Some of the experience could also be considered to be very experienced. Hence, they recognized Yao Lao with a glance. Immediately, numerous exclamations resounded over the place one after another. That person is Yao Zhengzhe, Yao Chen. He is actually still alive? Isn't it said that Yao Chen had lost his body and his strength is greatly reduced? Why is it now? With the recovery of Yao Chen's strength, it is likely that the great calamity of the Falling Star Pavilion this time around can be resolved. The reputation and strength of the Falling Star Pavilion will also soar immediately. Even the Three Valleys will not be able to contend with them. Private conversations that were accompanied by some unknown emotion spread. Quite a number of people looked at each other. The expressions in their eyes were a little complicated. The return of Yao Zhengzhe Yao Chen to the Central Plains was definitely a big news. Some of the experts from older generations were deeply able to feel the influence that Yao Lao had on the Central Plains back then. Although many years had passed, no one was able to surpass Yao Lao in being the top alchemist on the Central Plains. Even the three great heads of the Pill Tower had no choice but to admit that they could not be compared to Yao Chen. At this moment, this top alchemist of the Central Plains, who had disappeared for many years, had once again appeared. The shock and ripple that it created would naturally be earth-shaking. Xiao Yan watched Yao Lao, who had completely taken the upper hand. He also revealed a faint smile. With Yao Lao having regained his peak strength, the Falling Star Pavilion will no longer need to worry about the Hall of Soul taking revenge in the future. After all, despite the Hall of Soul being strong, it was this great strength that caused it to possess many implications. Some of the peak experts could not randomly just attack. As long as these peak experts do not attack, the Falling Star Pavilion would be safe. Bang! Xiao Yan mused for a moment. A muffled sound was suddenly transmitted from the sky. Xiao Yan, whose heart sensed something, hurriedly raised his head. He frowned a little, only to see that the sky demon puppet was being continuously defeated under the continuous fierce attack by Black Tianzun. Even its hard body had some vague dent appearing. Clearly, with the strength of the sky demon puppet, it was a little too much for it to fight with Black Tianzun alone. Xiao Yan's eyes paused on the sky demon puppet for a moment before turning away. It turned towards the battleground between Qing Lin and White Tianzun. He was a little startled when he first looked towards this place. The expected situation of Qing Lin being defeated did not appear. All he saw was an extremely intense battle. The two figures violently collided with each other. Human figures flashed and a shocking energy ripple swiftly spread. This aura, it's that ancient heaven serpent. Xiao Yang narrowed his eyes slightly. He could sense that the aura of the current Qing Lin was vaguely a little brutal. This kind of feeling was something that he had personally experienced at the cave back then. Hence, he immediately understood that Qing Lin should have borrowed the strength of the ancient heaven serpent soul. Otherwise, with her strength, it was impossible for her to engage in such a fiery hot battle with White Tianzun even with the help of the triple jade green snake flower pupils. There should not be any danger as long as the black-white Tianzuns here are held back. With the strength of Old Feng's and Little Fairy Doctor's group, they should be able to block the other Hall of Soul experts from attacking. Xiao Yang's eyes flickered slightly. Since there was no problem on Qing Lin's side, he should attack Black Tianzun. By joining hands with the Sky Demon puppet, it should be possible for them to delay this fellow until he cannot divert his attention. However, in this situation, the greatest number of deaths would still be the ordinary disciples of the Falling Star Pavilion. It would be bad if things drag on for too long. During the time that Xiao Yang was frowning because of this, Yao Lao in the sky appeared to have sensed something. He lowered his head and watched the star realm, which was permeated by a bloody scent. A cold glint flickered within his eyes. He clenched his hand and an enormous spatial hand was once again formed. A palm smashed towards black-white tianzun. How could the black-white tianzuns, who were engaging in an intense battle with the sky demon puppet and Qing Lin, anticipate such a sudden attack? Hence, they only recovered their attention after the attack arrived. Their faces immediately turned ghastly white. The frightening spatial strength gave them an extremely dangerous feeling. The large spatial hand violently landed on the bodies of the black-white tianzun. After which, these two extremely powerful tianzuns immediately spat out a mouthful of fresh blood in front of everyone's eyes. Their bodies fell from the sky like meteorites and violently smashed into the forest. 1,000 feet deep gully was formed. Seeing the black-white tianzuns, who were unable to even endure for one exchange, those experts in the distance ended up inhaling a breath of cold air. Bang bang bang. After sending the black-white tianzuns flying with a palm, Yao Lao once again flipped his palm a couple more times and continuously smashed them across the air. With the smashing of his palm, all of those Hall of Soul experts on the ground that came into contact with the enormous spatial hand would be blasted into a cluster of black fog almost instantly. Even their flesh were turned into dust. Under this slaughtering by Yao Lao, those experts from the Hall of Soul finally became terrified. In their panic, they fled in all directions. None of them dared to remain in the star realm for a moment longer. That ninth tianzun had a gloomy expression upon seeing the terrible loss of the experts from the Hall of Soul. The situation had basically gone out of control with the appearance of Yao Chen. However, he was unwilling to simply give up in this manner. Yao Chen, you have just recovered your strength and will definitely have difficulty completely unleashing it. This venerable self shall just watch whether you can turn things around with your strength and rescue this falling star pavilion. Ninth tianzun inhaled a deep breath of air. His hand suddenly formed numerous dazzling seals with lightning-like speed. Following the change in his seals, the surrounding space also slowly fluctuated. Immediately a spatial crack line was slowly formed. The moment the spatial crack line was torn open, a bone-chilling monstrous aura was slowly being emitted from the crack line. Even 8th tianzun is here, huh? Upon sensing this bone-chilling aura, Yao Lao's brows twitched slightly and softly muttered to himself. This video will end here.